You're listening to episode 86 of the Fed and Fearless podcast. On this episode, I'm chatting with my coach, James Wedmore, about how to build resilience so you can be successful with online business. So stay tuned. Hi, I'm Laura Schoenfeld. I'm a registered dietitian and coach trained in functional medicine with a passion for helping women just like you ditch perfectionism and use food, fitness, and self-care to fuel your bigger God-given purpose. I believe that it's possible to achieve your biggest life-changing goals without the frustration, obsession, or negative self-talk that so many women subject themselves to every day. All you need are the right tools, the right mindset, and the faith to turn your dreams into reality. I'm here to guide you along the way. The truth is that you are so much more than a body, and I'm on a mission to help you change the way you think and act at a core beliefs level so you can transform your physical, mental, and spiritual health from the inside out. Are you ready to become fed and fearless in your pursuit of a healthy, meaningful life? Welcome to the Fed and Fearless podcast. Hello, and welcome back to the Fed and Fearless podcast. I'm Laura Schoenfeld, your host as always, and we have a little bit of a milestone on today's episode because today is the first day that we're having a repeat guest. And you might be asking yourself, who could Laura be asking to come back to her show after doing an interview last year? Now, I will definitely have repeat guests in the future because we've had a couple of conversations with people that are amazing and we didn't even get a chance to really scratch below the surface. And so you may be seeing some repeat guests in the future, but this person has the honor of actually not even just being our first repeat guest, but last year he was our first male guest. So he's got a lot of firsts under his belt on the Fed and Fearless podcast. So if you're wondering who I'm talking about, this is my coach, James Wedmore. Now, let me give you a quick introduction to James in case you're not familiar with him. James was born and raised in sunny Laguna Beach, California, and now resides and runs his business in the beautiful Red Rocks of Sedona, Arizona. For the last 15 years, James has leveraged his expertise to help teach digital CEOs how to build and scale their online businesses through courses and trainings like his signature program, Business by Design, other programs such as Sales Page by Design and Nail Your Niche, as well as many other business building trainings inside of James' abundant course library. Along with being notorious in the online space for his unrivaled online courses and content, James also facilitates Next Level, a strategic group coaching experience, as well as his high-level mastermind, the Performance Mastermind, which is actually the mastermind that I'm in this year. When James isn't working, he can be found hiking, flipping homes for Airbnb, or off-roading through the rocky terrain of Sedona. His motto is simple: work hard, play harder. So James is one of the best business coaches that I have ever had the pleasure of working with. I first started working with James in 2018 when I joined his Business by Design program. And this year is the first year that I was accepted into his Performance Mastermind. And I have learned so much from James, not only about building a business, but also just about personal development as well. And honestly, from what I've experienced in the last 7+ years of owning a business, and this year will be my 10th year online, is that personal development and how much we're willing to work on ourselves is really what allows us to have the business that we desire. And as much as we can learn about strategy and funnels and marketing and all that stuff, it really is how we approach business from a mindset and personal development perspective that allows us to have the success that we want. So on today's episode, I got to chat with James about lots of different things, especially around being fearless in your business and also how to know when it's time to quit versus how to know when you just need to keep working at something. It's a really great episode and we had a lot of fun chatting, as you guys might experience when you listen. I know you're going to love it and I can't wait for you to get to meet James and get to know him better and get to learn from him like I've gotten to learn from him. So without further ado, here is my coach, James Wedmore. All right, everybody. Well, I am so excited to have with me on the show today my coach, and do I get to call you my friend?
Yes! Gosh darn it.
I made friend status, and my coach, James Wedmore. So welcome to the Fed and Fearless podcast. Again, I think you might actually be our first repeat guest on this show.
It's good to be back. Thank you so much for having me. And it's good to have fun, be fearless. I think that's what it's about. So we're in good company here.
Yes. Well, you're teaching me a lot about that this year. So I will continue that theme.
Yeah.
We had an episode with you last year, so we can definitely link to that in the show notes if people want to start there to learn a little bit more about you. But just so our audience, if they're new to you, can get to know you a little better, what made you decide to get started in online business, selling digital courses and coaching? And why have you stuck with it 14 years later, even when things have gotten hard?
I was a bartender back after I graduated college, and I hated it. Got a college degree, and with that college degree, I became a bartender. Have you ever been to On the Border? You know what that is?
Sadly, I probably have.
Yeah,
not many times, though. It's not the classiest establishment.
No, family fun, It's a family restaurant. It's like the Chili's, the Mexican food version of Chili's. I mean, I think they're owned by the same big conglomerate restaurant chain. I was the lunchtime day of the week bartender during the day at the lunch shift at On the Border. That is what your 4-year degree gets you. I hated it. Long story short, I was very entrepreneurial and very passionate, driven to do something. I'm like, I got to figure something out. I realized really quickly I am unemployable. I don't want to work for anybody else, let alone work at a bar at lunch during the day, during the week. No, thank you. So that led me to this crazy light bulb moment idea to create an online bartending school. And that's exactly what I did. I spent 6 months making the first version of this is how to teach you how to bartend. Because that's the only thing I knew how to do at the time. And within a few months, I made my very first sale. Still remember that, April 18th, 2008. And someone in San Antonio, Texas bought it. And I was hooked. And I don't bartend today. I don't teach bartending today. I don't bartend today. But that began a journey for me of getting paid to teach, because that's what I love. I love teaching and I love coaching. So to get paid for that, dream come true. That's 14 years later, many evolutions and iterations of that, built $1 million business teaching YouTube and video to many people, $1.2 million a year with a $97 product. People just kept asking, how are you doing that? What does it take? How do you build a business around that? That's what we do today. That's what I help people with. So if you have a product, want a product, love to teach, want to package that in a course membership, group coaching, one-on-one coaching, clients, consulting, whatever, that's what we help people do. From everything from the strategy to the business mechanics to how to sell it, how to package it, how to scale it, how to reach more people. That's what I love doing. I love helping people live their, dream life, like step into their purpose. It's very fulfilling, It's very rewarding. Be like, wow, I get to get paid to help people, and I can see that difference in transformation every day. So that's what I do. Did that answer that question, Laura? Did I do a good job? Am I doing okay on the show?
7 out of 10. We'll keep working. Getting there.
Okay. I'm working on it.
You'll get there one of these days. I know you've been practicing, so.
Do you see how she picks on me? Gosh.
I feel like, I don't know. We have a mutual friend that's in the Mastermind together with me, Mel Abraham. Shout out to Mel if he's listening, which he's probably not. But if he was listening,
we'll make him listen.
He's paved the way for me to learn how to pick on you. So you can blame him for that.
Let's be honest. It doesn't take that much skill.
I think it's really interesting how you got into online business, because for me, my experience was definitely a lot different, where I was hired by somebody who was actually running their online health business to really be, I don't know what I would call myself. I mean, the official title was content manager, but I helped with research and writing and sending emails. And so actually a lot of what I do in my business today came from working for him. His name is Chris Kresser. A lot of my audience knows him. being able to help him grow his business while I was in grad school for nutrition. So it was interesting because when I was about to graduate, I had a meeting with my advisor and she was like, what kind of job do you want to get? Like, are you applying anywhere? And I was like, I'm actually going to start a business myself and I'm going to do online business. And she was like, you sure that's a good idea right out of school? And I was like, I don't really care if you think it's a good idea out of school. Because I was like, I feel the same way. I was like, I don't think I could ever have a real job. So it's really interesting just seeing how you got into it almost like just completely on your own, whereas I was almost trained up how to do it working for somebody else. And by the time I was ready to even take my first client, I was like, this is what I'm doing for sure. And it's, for me, it's been since 2014 that I've been running online businesses.
I've had that like same story of a college I was a high school counselor. Did you know that story?
I think I did hear that story about you being presented your options and you were like, none, please.
Yeah, we had career day in high school and it was these file boxes with all these labels and folders and every label was a different job. And even back then, like 17 years old, I had a real problem with that. I'm like, I don't understand. Like you're quite literally just putting us into a box. We haven't even graduated high school. And I did not take it seriously. So they asked us to pick 2 career options by the end of the career day or whatever. So I chose crane operator and ambulance driver. I was quite immediately called into the counselor's office with my parents. They were not happy. Your son, Mr. and Mrs. Wedmore, your son has not been taking his future seriously. At which point I explained as a 17-year-old kid that I was already making about $2,000 to $3,000 a week, flipping, buying and selling and restoring vintage motorcycles on the internet. And that I was probably making more money than he was as a counselor. So I'm probably not going to take career or financial advice from him. I was a pretty stubborn, jerky kid. I've mellowed out a bit, but that's the entrepreneur, right? We're just like, you don't put me in a box. Don't put me in the corner. And I'm glad I trusted that. I'm glad I continued to listen to that nudge of like questioning everything and society's expectations and went for my own thing. Because a lot of people have that same feeling, but they don't act on it. That's so tragic. It is going to be risky. Yes, it's going to be risky. Yes, it's going to be challenging, of course. But that's what you signed up for. That's what it's about. It's like, it's cliche when people say higher the risk, higher the reward. But we operate from a very simple principle that changed everything for me, which is that your success is inevitable. You've heard me say this before a gajillion times. It just becomes very cliche, but it's very true. It's only a matter of time. The problem is most people give up. They give up way too soon. Oh, this was too hard. I give up. I quit. That's the problem. Don't quit. Keep going. And it's only a matter of time. And when you have the right coaching, the support, the community, surround yourself, it accelerates the process for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like that's one of the things I always have wanted to teach people on this podcast, even when talking about health, just that concept of not letting the fear of what might happen or what could go wrong get in the way of them taking action towards the things that they feel called to do. And so I think for me, being a business owner, being an entrepreneur, it's, as I've also heard you say a cajillion times, it's like personal growth on steroids.
Oh yeah.
So James has experienced a few of my breakdowns this year where I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. So It's something that, as much as there are challenges, I've certainly been committed to not giving up in the face of those big challenges.
Well, what's on the other side of the breakdown?
The breakthrough.
The breakthrough, baby. That's right. You got to go through that sometimes. That means something good's coming. And it's growing. It is absolutely accelerated path of tremendous growth. And that should be the goal for people, is like who you're becoming and how you're growing and what you're learning that's it. That's what it's all about. I look at who I am now 14 years later versus who I was when I was that bartender. Scared, insecure, low self-esteem and worth, and who I am now and how much happier and more fulfilled and content I am. It's like, wow, that's such a blessing. And I had to go through a lot of upsets and challenges and risks. And like, I don't really want to help people avoid those things. I want to help people go through them faster. Like, just embrace it, go through it, because I've also been saying this, as I say, your success is inevitable. I also tell people your failure is inevitable too. And that's not meant to be negative at all. Failure is the way. We've heard this before, but we're not embodying it. We're not integrating it. Failure is the stepping stone to success. So when you go out there and you put your neck on the line, you step up to the plate and you have that at-bat moment where you're either, it's down to this moment right here, where there's a decision tree. This is either going to work or it's not going to work. The more you put yourself in those scenarios, the more you increase your odds for success. That's the thing, is people want to avoid failure and rejection, so they don't put themselves in scenarios where they could lose or they could get a no, which means they also simultaneously in that exact moment, they're not putting themselves in the scenario where they could win and get the yes. You put yourself in those scenarios more often, you increase the odds. It's a simple numbers game. But here's what happens. You put yourself out there and one of two things is going to happen. You're either going to get what you want or you're going to get what you needed. And what you needed was the lesson. And the lesson is the thing that you needed, which is why you didn't get what you wanted, because you hadn't learned the lesson. Isn't that simple, right? Success is actually a really crappy teacher. I see it all the time. People that have like accidental wins and they can't replicate it because they don't know what caused success. But when you fail and you feel that pain of disappointment and you just want to curl up in a ball, cry for a week and close the blinds and erase the past month of your life and question everything, it's in those moments of the breakdown that we start to pay attention. After you go through all that and you really sit there and you say, okay, what's going on? What happened? What am I missing? I got to figure this out. What's the lesson here? What's the opportunity? And it's in that inquiry and that kind of like that desperate, like exhale that, gosh darn it, you usually find it. And that's where I just leave people with today is hurry up and fail. That's really the message I have for people is hurry up and fail. Because our whole life, we've been told, what do you do when you fall off the horse? You get back on. You know that. That's nothing new. I can't come on a podcast and just share that. Hey, you know what happens when you fall off the horse? You get back on. We know that. That's not the problem. The problem is most people have made their life about trying to avoid falling off the horse. The only way that you're going to avoid falling off the horse is not playing the game. So you're sitting on the sidelines. This is what I call the sidelines entrepreneur. They're a spectator. You got opinions, you got judgments, you got thoughts, you got reasons why it won't work. You're too smart to figure out all the reasons why your business won't work that you don't actually step in and you don't play the game. It's not until you play the game that you will get knocked off the horse. Absolutely, right? We both get knocked off. The difference is we get back on. And then the game becomes, how fast do I get back on? How quickly can I get back on? The first time it was a week. I was crying. I'm huddled in the ball in the corner of the room. This is awful, blah, 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 blah. And now it's like, boom, 30-second wobble. I'm back on the horse, baby. Let's go. And we learn, we go, and we grow. And that's the difference. Winners are playing to win, and losers play to avoid not losing. And you get what you focus on. So are you playing to win or are you playing not to lose? And you get what you focus on, where your attention goes, what you think about, that's where you drive your life. And I just want to tell people, hurry up and fail so that you can learn and you can grow. Because failure is a beautiful thing. It really is. We have to reframe it. We have to embrace it. We have to love the messy, love the rejection, love the mistakes, love the broken links, the typos, the failed launches, the no sales, the mismanaged expectations, the goals we don't hit. We have to just love all of it because it's a part of it for all of us. You can't find me one person that somehow avoided that and became successful. You can't, but how much of your energy, your time, and your focus about how to circumvent that? You can't. So just hurry up and fail. What a weird message to share though, right?
All right, mic drop. We're done. See you guys. It's funny, something came up. I was talking with one of my support coaches for one of my programs about how we could deal with an issue where her and I were giving potentially conflicting advice to our students. And they were like, I don't know who I should listen to if it doesn't line up. And we were just talking about the fact that actually we could both be right. We could both be wrong. We could both just have different perspectives. And even if we give the best advice in the world, the only actual truth we can ever get when it comes to what's going to work for our business is the data we get from the actions that we take. So like when I'm working with a coach like, you or any other coach I've worked with, of course I, want to do my best to get the information and get the coaching and get the guidance and all of that. But I've never learned anything that I've been able to accomplish in my business just from listening to a coach and doing it perfectly. And it's one of these things where it's like, I almost want to get all of my clients off any sort of, get me off any pedestal that they have me on that says, oh, Laura needs to be the one that tells me what to do. Because I have experience. I have, 10 years of online experience where I've done a lot of things. I've failed a lot of times. I've succeeded a lot of times too. But even with all of that experience, I could be giving what I think is the best advice possible. And that doesn't mean that it's actually going to work for their business. So just being able to get to that place where you can kind of balance getting coaching, getting education, getting support with the idea that like, I don't know how this is going to work until I try it. And the only way to even remotely have an understanding of what is going to work for my business is by doing it and being okay if it doesn't work.
100%. And I think the mark of a great teacher, a great coach, a great mentor is as simple as this, is we go out to help people and get paid to help them. What we share and what I'm about is I'm here to ask you better questions than you've been asking yourself. The quality of your life is determined by the quality of questions you ask. And most people are asking themselves really crappy quality questions. Why is this happening to me? What's the matter with me? Why isn't this working? Why don't they like me? Or what if this fails? What if it doesn't work? What if they hate me? What if, right? All these awful questions. And we just come to ask some better questions. And the funny thing with like your subconscious mind is when I ask you a question, your subconscious mind must go to work to answer that question. And it really like changes the neural pathways of where you're putting your attention and what you start to think about, because most people are doing things like, what if it fails? What if it doesn't work? What if I'm wasting time? What if I'm going in the wrong direction? But even if you tried this on yourself, anybody listening, and said, okay, try a new one. Go, what if this succeeds? What if I'm going in the right direction? What if I actually surpass my goals? What if this works? What if I am cut out for this? What if I am going in the right direction? What if this is all going according to plan? And if you were to write those down, if you were to speak those out, if you were to think those thoughts, you'd already start to feel a little better. And you'd already start to feel more like an expansion, an opening, a receptivity of, oh, well then in that case, what about this? How about if I do this? Right? I want to lead people to answer their own questions. I want to guide people to learn how to think for themselves and come up with the right answer. I believe the right answer, we already have all the answers within. It just takes the courage to ask.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I feel like this is something you talk about a lot, is that concept that school hasn't really prepared us for entrepreneurship because
that upsets a lot of people.
Well, and it's especially I've made some sassy comments about people that nobody cares about what degree you have, and people are like, "What? I went to school for so long and I got my master's degree and all that." And listen, I have a master's degree too, so it's not like I haven't done the school thing, but I do feel like we got taught to do what we were told. We got taught, and this is even in grad school. Like, this isn't just, elementary school or something. We got taught to do what we were told. We got taught to regurgitate information that we were, either that we read or we were lectured to about. And all of it was like, did I get the right answer? Did I get the A kind of thing? And I feel like so many people, they're not comfortable with the idea of getting an F, right? It's like, oh, that was an F. That attempt that you made with your business was an F. And again, the word failure is not exactly the best word, but I've had F level results in certain things that I've tried. And so I do find that a lot of people that I work with, especially because they're highly educated, it's almost like they're not used to having that mindset around learning that, hey, you're actually going to learn by doing it and maybe doing it pretty bad the first couple of times. So I know you've talked about that before, and it's just something I notice because of just the amount of education that so many of my clients have had and how much it's drilled into us for, 20 years.
There's this thing I talk about, it's this idea that most of us are operating from a permission-based paradigm. And if you look at like your own personal history and past, you're a little kiddo for a really long time. You're smaller than most people. Everyone around you growing up is bigger than you. And for how many years did you get into the practice of asking for permission to do anything? In school, especially. Raise your hand. Can you call on me so I can ask a question, so I can even just go to the bathroom, so I can get to the next grade, so I can graduate, right? So much of life in our formative years is from a place of needing and continuing to ask permission. Then you go into school specifically, and it's do what you're told, wait your turn, raise your hand, wait for the bell, memorize the test, memorize, okay, you've learned how to memorize these concepts and terms, you can pass. And that's, I'm not knocking it. People think I'm knocking all that. I'm like, just know that if you spent your whole life learning how to play golf and then stepped onto the field to play football, you wouldn't be any good at football. And that's exactly what's happening in school, but people don't recognize that. Entrepreneurship and running your own business is a completely different set of skills and thinking than what you get in school. This is what really like triggers people. I don't really care that it triggers people, but because it just is what it is. It's not bad or wrong. It just is what it is. But the public education system that I experienced taught me and prepared me for being an employee. There's nothing wrong with being an employee. People think it's bad. We need employees. No, it's playing, learning the rules of one game and playing that game. That's fine. If you want to be an employee, great. There's no judgment or anything. But the school predominantly, by and large, teaches you how to be a really good employee. Do what you're told, and work harder. You get rewarded for hard work. Entrepreneurship, you do not get rewarded for hard work. Do you know how many hardworking entrepreneurs are flat broke? That's not enough. And so what this creates is what I call the employee mindset and the entrepreneurial mindset. And you're either operating like an employee in your own business or you're operating like the entrepreneur. So here's one of the ways in which that plays out. You're in your business and you say, I want to make more money. The employee mindset says, therefore, I must work harder, longer, faster, right? Now, what's the problem with that? The problem with that is you're operating from finite, diminishing resources. There are only so many hours in the day. There's only so much energy that you have. And some days you have less energy than others. And that means you're already working from a paradigm or a frame or a model that limits your potential. And we start a business because we want infinite potential, but you're working from a finite model. So you've already capped your potential. You can only work so many hours a day. That means you're only going to make so much money. You know how the entrepreneur thinks when they say, I want to make more money. It's a very different but very simple way. It's like, whoa. Instead of what the employee does, it says, I'll work harder, longer, faster. Believe it or not, the entrepreneur says, I want to make more money. I'll work less. Huh? What? That doesn't make any sense. When I share with people this very simple truth, it's fun to watch how upset some people get. But the less you do, the more you'll make in business. What? Because what the entrepreneur does is they say, if I want to make more money, I already know what I need to do is I need to give myself a raise. I need to give myself a promotion. I need to elevate my role. The role you fill, this is worth writing down, people. The role you fill determines the results you receive. So when people say, I'm starting a business. When people say, boom, I've got a business. What the struggling business owner does is they think that it's just one role that exists in the business, and then they fill it. And then they're busy doing like 1,000 things. And then I come along and I say, no. When you created a business as an entity, even as an idea, when you speak it into existence, you're creating all these different roles simultaneously in the instant. And people say, no, James, it's just me. No, I didn't say how many people are in your business. I said how many roles. There's the customer support. There's the admin, the tech, copywriting, teaching content. There's the social media manager, the branding, the graphic designer, the email marketer. I mean, it goes on and on. I just listed out 10, right? Without even barely thinking about it. No, James, but it's just me. Oh, I get that it's just you. It's you in 10 different roles. No wonder you're busy. No wonder you're overwhelmed. You just put yourself in 10 different jobs. And then you wonder why you're so busy and so little is happening. But here's where this goes a little deeper. The bigger problem with that is, I'm all for someone solopreneur. It's not about that. It's like, start where you start, do your thing. The problem, though, is that when you think there's only one role, even though there isn't, let's say there's 10 roles already, most people, and if you're struggling, this is probably why you're struggling, you're spending Pareto principle 80-20, you're spending 80% of your time in the 20% of roles that don't make you money. When we're struggling, we're spending the majority of our time in the roles, doing the things, the functions, the actions and activities that don't actually produce revenue. So you're going to write this down because this is Pareto principle on steroids, the 5% activities, 5%. Within all of our businesses and all the activities, all the to-dos, there are just 5% of those activities that are directly responsible for 95% of the results that we want. And what happens is we recognize, maybe only on a subconscious level, like we're not consciously aware of it, that those 5% activities are outside your comfort zone. They're scary. They put you at risk. They put you at those at-bat moments where you could fail. But also, you could succeed. You could get rejected and get a no, but you could also get a yes. So as long as those exist outside of your comfort zone, what most people do is they say, you know what? I got something to do over here first. I got to do this over here. That to-do list of non-essential, low-value, non-revenue generating activities will always be there calling your name, like Odysseus being seduced by the sirens, calling him to his own demise. That to-do list are the sirens of your business demise, always trying to distract you from the 5% activities that are required by you, that only you and you alone are going to do. If you're not growing the business, then who is? If you're not generating the sale, then who is? If you're not driving the ship, then who the heck is? It's got to be you. It's got to start with you. So the employee says, I'll just work harder and longer and faster. But the entrepreneur, what we call the digital CEO, says, I need to work less and spend more of that time in higher elevated, more valuable roles that the business needs from me. Did that make sense? Is that
Oh, yeah.
clear?
I mean, that's something that for me this year, especially because our business grew a lot faster than ever in the last, I think I did the math in the last 9 months, I went from 7 business coaching clients to over 100 total. And so, yeah, which is amazing. And it definitely shows you all the different roles that you're playing when you have to handle that many clients. So, and I've actually really found that, you know, as far as what you were saying with it being easier to do the to-do list and the kind of 80, 90% activities, I still get stuck there sometimes. And I feel like it's because the stuff that is actually the visionary CEO kind of work requires me to really level up as far as who I am and the person that I'm being and the way that I'm actually operating. And a lot of it is like Well, yeah, definitely. And I feel like a lot of it is between being able to trust the people that I have hired to do those tasks. Cause I am like, I will just do it myself. Like just before we got on this interview, I was building a sales page in Kajabi, which is definitely not a CEO activity.
Yeah. And like when you say build the sales page in Kajabi, you're going in there and you're like, okay, add this little bit here. And okay, I got to upload this image, right? Like you're doing all that.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's my comfort zone, honestly. Like just, I kind of joke. I was talking with our friend Amber earlier today. I was like, sometimes I just feel like I would be so much like more chill if I was an integrator because I can just go, do the things, make the stuff happen, all of that. But I would never do that because I think I would be, I think I have a lot of opportunity to be a visionary and to really step into that role. And I think it would be a cop out for me to not do that. But it's something where that's where my comfort zone is to just do the tasks. And this year, one of the big growth areas that I've really been going through is not only the ability to trust team members to do things and also to learn how to communicate with them when things don't get done the way that they need to be done, but then also having moments in running the business in general where I have to make tough decisions or have tough conversations or, put myself out there in a really uncomfortable or scary way. And it's because I've been the solopreneur, I've been the, person with a VA, and now we have, I think, like 3 people on our team officially, and we're continuing to grow it. And just the stuff that I've had to go through to get into that role is so much harder than this. I mean, I feel like it's so much harder than just learning how to do Kajabi or like learning how to, put a program together, that kind of thing. So,
but I want to just add something.
You're going to pause me.
No, it's great. I just want to throw something in there. It's like, notice what you're saying is harder. It's not more work, right? It's not more effort. I'm not burning more calories doing that, right? But it's harder in other ways. And most people are unwilling to do those hard things. That's why it's more valuable, right? When anybody can go into Kajabi and build a sales page with a little bit of training. So when anybody can do it, then it's a low value activity. And that's the up leveling. The up leveling is saying, I'm giving myself a promotion to the more difficult things, not difficult in terms of I got to expend more effort, but difficult because it's scary. It's confronting. It's a lot of risk. It's a lot of responsibility, but that's where we need to bring ourselves to. And that's what you're doing. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah. Oh, no, it's fine. And the other piece of that is a lot of times I actually need a lot more self-care activities and like downtime to be able to do those top level activities. And because I could work on a Kajabi website all day and be kind of fine. Like, just crack a beer, work on Kajabi, like totally easy. But doing the CEO stuff, I've really realized that I actually need to completely change my routine, change my schedule so that I'm not doing that 40 hours a week, because honestly, I don't feel like I'm able to stay at that peak performance if I am working as much as I was working before, when it was much more just the, do operations kind of thing. Like, and that's what you were saying before about working less. It's not about just like, I always imagine the kind of Tim Ferriss 4-hour work week where you're just like sipping Mai Tais on the beach in Hawaii. It's like the stuff that you have to do is a different type of challenge that I think a lot of people they're not taught how to deal with it. And then when they get into it, it's like, oh crap, like how do I handle this?
Totally. And here's the deal. Like, can you create a 4-hour work week? Absolutely. Absolutely. Here's I think a really important distinction between the entrepreneur or digital CEO mindset and the employee mindset, okay? Is that when you're still operating from the employee mindset, you're trying to create money. You're trying to make money. You chase money. And where the successful entrepreneur is focused on is they're not trying to create money, believe it or not. They focus on creating a machine that makes money. Most people hearing this probably won't notice the difference. They may not, and that worries me because it is a big, big difference. If you're just trying to create and chase money, then you will say yes to anything and everything that comes across your desk. And what we have to understand is there's a real concept called opportunity cost, which means every yes that you say yes to is costing you somewhere. It's taking you away from something. So just because someone says like, oh, hey, will you do this for me? Or hey, can you do it? And it's like not what your vision is. It's not where you're going. It's taking you away from where you're going. Whereas if you sat there and you said, I'm not just trying to replace my job income and create another job where I'm my own boss, where you have like 10 jobs, even like invoicing and, bookkeeper, you're all those things now. When you were an employee working for someone else, you didn't have to take on all those roles as well. But when you sit there instead and say, I'm creating a machine, I'm building a machine, you can actually build a business or a machine or however you want to look at it that does have you work a lot less once the machine is built, once it's created, because the machine is doing more of that work, whether that's with a big team, a small team, whatever. But a lot of what we do today, and people just don't believe this, is other than right now, because we have our big one time of the year launch coming up, I'm on a lot of podcasts, but other than me being on like podcasts and stuff throughout the day, there's very little that I'm doing. There's very little because I won't be an employee in my business. So I have phone calls, I'm checking in with certain team members. I have meetings, I'm checking in, I'm checking their numbers and I'm reviewing things. But where I'm at today is there's a team running that machine and that machine is running. And all I got to do is just check in and make sure that that's doing its thing. And then I have my own podcast. So I record an episode every week and that's it. And that's possible. Not once you're like, oh, uber super successful, but a lot of people just get stuck then in creating and have to create more and have to create more and create more. And I would encourage people to focus more on like, let me build a machine that starts to create money for you. And that's how we have to look at business.
Yeah, that's definitely what I've been focusing on over the last few months, because I have the tendency to just create new things because I am a creator and I just can like pump out content. And that's another form of doing, honestly.
Yes,
it's just like, oh, it's much more comfortable for me to whip out another PowerPoint for another training rather than really do the hard work of creating that business machine that you're talking about. So that's what we've been focusing on this. What is it? Quarter two? Is that what? Yeah. Quarter two for 2021. And it's definitely like a completely new skill that I'm building, being able to do this, but I can see the light at the end of the tunnel where our business is going to go once we do have those operations and systems in place so that I can actually do the CEO activities and really get out of the sales page building and all the things that I still put my little fingers into.
Yeah. And here's the difference with that. Like I still work on our sales pages, right? So I just look at things a little differently. I go, my value isn't in formatting, uploading an image. Oh crap, it's not the right side. Hold on. That's like, nope, can't be doing that. I can't be doing that. So here's my process for something like building a page. First of all, I have the idea for it. I go, ooh, we're going to build a page like this. And I'll voice memo or make a video dictating what I want to happen on the page. So I kind of wanted to start out and we'll kind of go with this and then go to here and da-da-da-da-da. And then it's sent off to someone on my team who writes that. And then that person sends it to our graphic designer. And the graphic designer designs it. And then we send it to a virtual assistant who takes the design and the writing and puts it in Kajabi or puts it on the landing page and builds it. And then it comes back to me and I do my final tweaks. So all I did there is I did a little video or a voice memo saying, here's what I want. And then I did the final stage of, let me change this, adjust this, and okay, now it's perfect. And so I'm still in there. I'm still doing things and reviewing things and stuff like that. But if I was doing all the stuff in between too, man, and for everything, I would either be so busy at this point that I wouldn't sleep, or we would have like 1/10 the size or 1/20th size of the business, because it's just the doing and the busyness is not what makes you money. Making sales is what makes you money. And there's a lot of people just doing and doing and doing and staying really, really busy, but that's not making them any sales.
Yeah. I'm triggered, James.
Good.
Good.
Mission accomplished.
Yes. So I'm gonna kind of take us in a little bit of a different direction, if you don't mind, because because one of the things that I went through last year was a pretty major pivot. Like right after COVID hit, I kind of took a month where I was just like, all right, I'm gonna see where this whole world is going right now. Like I was
hell in a handbasket.
Yeah, basically. And it was funny. It was actually a really chill month. Like that sounds so weird to say, but April 2021, and again, mutual friend Anna. Yeah, my coach Anna Powers, who is in our mastermind, was like, you seem really relaxed. I'm like, yeah, I'm just kind of waiting to see what happens with this whole thing. So as that happened, I just started noticing all these people asking for, how do I put my business online? How do I do this? Like everyone's panicking. And I was like, oh my gosh, I've been online for like 7 years now. I can help with this. I even helped my mom. I spent a whole day with her helping her set up her online portal to work with, because she's a nutritionist too. So yeah, so she's always done it in person, and she's like, I need help to be able to do it virtually. So I helped her set it up. I did it for free because I figured she gave birth to me, so I could do something like that.
Good even trade right there, even Steven.
Very even trade, life and an online business portal. So anyway, long story short, I wanted to ask you, because I do get this question a decent amount, and it's one of these things where, like, we were talking about failure, we were talking about like persevering in the face of things not working well. I had a really big, what I consider business failure at the beginning of 2020. And then after that moment where I saw the opportunity, I literally launched a brand new business doing business coaching. And so that was a pretty major pivot for me. And I didn't feel like I was quitting necessarily, but I did feel like the thing that I had tried to make work and had put a ton of effort, time, energy, like rebranding, all this stuff into it, I ended up saying, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm going to do this new thing and start basically from scratch. And so I was wondering if you have any thoughts about when an entrepreneur who's working on something that isn't getting the results that they're looking for, isn't seeing the success, like feels like they're beating their head against a wall, at what point does somebody, quote unquote, quit, or, like I said, make a big pivot, just like do something totally new, versus when do they stick it out, keep at it, and give it time with that idea of their success being inevitable?
This is like one of the most common questions, isn't it? How do you know when it's time to throw in the towel? So here's what I'm going to say. I have a very different answer than what most would probably say. It's a very simple answer. That's probably why it's different. It's something like too simple. Okay. So the first thing, quitting is the only true failure that exists. And we talked a little bit about failure, but failure as it didn't go the way I wanted is inevitable. But true failure, it only happens when you stop. So in my world, you never throw in the towel. Just as a general, like, let's just start there. Never. My stubbornness and my commitment is what I attribute my success to. That's the first piece. The second piece, just to go, now let's go the next layer up, is, okay, no, James, I'm in it to win. Okay, I'm going to do this until I'm successful. I just don't know if it's the idea. Is this the right idea? Am I going in the wrong direction? That's what I'm asking about. Cool. The next layer up is understand that the most valuable, powerful, important thing that you can be doing, your most valuable asset, is you as a personal brand. Is it not true, Laura, that when you pivoted, people came with you?
Yes.
Yeah, the people came with you, right? You're like, I'm doing this thing now. And someone was like, oh, I've been following you for a while. Like, okay, like, let's do this. I'm in, I'm awesome, right? So you as a personal brand is the most valuable asset. So even if you're going in the wrong direction, you building that brand where people get to know you and who you are, your personality, your likes, your dislike, all that type of stuff, you're already going in the right direction because you're putting that out there. People are getting to know you. And it's not that you are valuable. You are, obviously, you as a brand. It's not about you. It's about the relationship that you create with people. Look at Elon Musk. That guy can go create anything right now, and people are going to follow it, buy it, invest in it, whatever, right? Because they know him as the personal brand. It's very smart what he did. I'm going to get Starlink when it comes out. You know what that is? I'm not
a huge Elon Musk follower. So
you don't have to be. I'm not saying I am. But his whole internet service is going to completely, you guys mark my word, it's going to disrupt the entire internet industry, cable companies and everything, because it's cheaper and faster. It's all satellite based. I don't know. It's probably going to rot our brains or something. And it's probably really bad for us, but it's going to disrupt the industry and people are going to buy it in droves when it's live for people. Right. But think about the value of it and the demand in it and the success that company is going to have purely based on the fact that it's Elon Musk. That's the point, right? It doesn't matter if we like him or not, as irrelevant. He built a personal brand. It's like a household name. Everyone knows who he is. And whatever he goes and creates, there's a group of people that follow that because they're like, oh yeah, it's his company, right? So you're already doing that and you pivot. That's one thing, but understand that none of this is like, oh, I'm starting over. I'm starting from scratch. I'm going in the wrong direction. Like, no, you're never going in the wrong direction when you are building an audience. When you are building a relationship with people, people will come with you. Trust me on that. I don't care if you say, but I'm going in a completely different direction. Yeah, not everyone is going to come, but people will build that audience or they build that relationship with you and they will stay with you. And that's so valuable. Now let's go up the next level above that. So we started with, you just don't quit no matter what. Once you're on the path of entrepreneurship, there's no going back. Let's be honest. There's no going back to working for somebody else. Like you can't, right? You've gotten a taste of that. You don't go back. The next level up is if you're already building a personal brand, that always pays off. Now let's go to the next level and say, yeah, but James, what I'm talking about is like this product idea, this niche idea. So here's my answer to that. You have to look at the niche, the product, I teach dog trainers how to get clients on Instagram. Okay. Like that's your niche or whatever, right? You have to say, this is the question I have. Whose niche is that? Whose idea is that? There's a lot of people that are doing something. I see this all the time, and it's not their idea. They saw someone else do it, and they saw that they were successful, and they just want that success. They go, I'm going to do that. Well, if Laura's successful doing this, I'll just do what she does. No, dummy. Laura is successful because what she's doing is already aligned on a deeper level for her. This is what she already wanted to do. This fits her uniqueness of who she is, and it's an expression of who she is. And you going and doing what her purpose is doesn't serve you or help you. You got to ask yourself, whose idea is this? Whose niche is this? Is it yours? Or was it somebody else's? And if it's yours, it came from where? It came from within. And we have to listen to that. We got to pay attention to that. Like if there's a part of you that said, this is what I feel called to do. This is what I want to do. Like there's just something about like, this just feels right. And it's not from a place of fear. It's a place of like pure, genuine, like childlike desire. You can't ignore that. That what if there's like a higher part of you that's guiding you towards something, and you got to trust in that. You got to follow that. You got to listen to that. We live in a society that's all about the head, all about the brain, all about the thinking, concepts, and IQs. And it's completely ignored the intuitive mind. It's completely ignored that nudge, that feeling, that heart. I believe your heart, love, is your GPS. It's a GPS to your true north. And if it's something you love, your heart is tugging, then that means go that direction. So what I say is, if you're already on the entrepreneurial path, don't quit, don't go back. There's nothing to go back to. I mean, you can if you want, but you'll always be wondering what if, right? If it's personal brand, you're not going to make any huge pivotal mistakes and waste of time because you're building the brand equity of relationship equity. And if it's within your heart, like it just feels like this is, if you won the lottery, would you still want to do this? Yes, because I love talking about these things. I love helping these types of people. I love teaching. This is something I'm really passionate about. Then it will be successful. It's just a matter of time. And it's a matter of unlocking a lot of things. And that's the problem, is that People put too much value in the idea, and they think it's the idea that's the issue. Successful entrepreneurs know that ideas and opportunities are a dime a dozen. They're everywhere. It's the sideline entrepreneurs that think ideas are scarce and rare. Oh, I've got a good idea. I've got a good idea. There are so many freaking ideas out there. Are you kidding me? I can take a mediocre idea and make $1 million with it. It doesn't need to be a great idea. I've never had a great idea. I've just had good ideas that I execute at the highest level possible. So what we need to do is stop putting all the weight of our success in the variable and the dependency of the idea itself and back on us. Because when you go into this business, there's a few things you got to understand. First of all, you need a strategy. You need a plan. A lot of people don't have a plan. They have a really bad plan. They have disjointed plans. They've got broken plans and strategies. Sometimes just no strategy at all. And the strategy is very counterintuitive. We can always talk about the strategy and all that type of stuff. But I see a lot of people, they're like, I'm just posting content and making noise and putting a add to cart button on my website, and hopefully people will give me money. That's not a plan. That's called cross your fingers, hope and pray, and let's see what happens. That's not a plan. I'm very strategic, right? You guys need to be strategic too. The second thing is you have to understand that this big business requires a set of skills. A skill is something that if you practice it and do it more often, you get better at it. Like playing the guitar. The first day you play a guitar, you're going to be really bad. If you continue to practice it, you're going to get really good. But people play guitar for the first time in their life and they don't go, I should be in a band and sell 1 million records. It doesn't work that way. You got to practice. And there's a lot of skills that if you just took a little bit of time and practiced, you'd see a massive improvement. So for example, someone says, I got this idea, it's in my heart, it's what I've always wanted to do. And I put it out there for the first time. I did my free training and I made my offer and no one bought. I think it's a bad idea. I should give up. Yeah. Or maybe we have to get a little bit more of that skill of communication, of teaching, of selling, of making an offer, of demonstrating leadership, getting people excited about our stuff. Maybe we just need to practice those skills a little bit and we can get better and better and better. But people give up because they say, oh, it's the idea. And if it's in your heart, you got to listen to that. We got to stop ignoring that. No one ever got somewhere successful and said, biggest mistake I ever made was listening to my heart. I should have never gone with my gut. What was I thinking? No one ever got an acceptance speech and said, the secret to success is to stay in your head, overthink and over worry, and you too will make it. No, we all know where the answer is. We all know where the right things are. And it's in your heart. It's in your body. It's in your heart. It's not in your head. And if that's where the idea is coming from, it's about time we trust that and understand that it takes time. It takes a plan. It takes taking action on that plan, and it takes a set of skills, and are you willing to learn those things? Are you willing to get good at them? I've been doing this for a long time, so I can do this stuff in my sleep today, but I put in the 10,000 hours, and that's where it got me, is here. And the real question is are you willing to give that as well? People walk around saying, I don't have what it takes. That is the biggest lie you're telling yourself. I don't have what it takes. That's nonsense. You do have what it takes. The question is, are you willing to give what it takes? Most people just aren't willing to give what it takes. Just listen to what Lori, you've been sharing earlier. It's like some of this stuff is hard and it's easier to just do that. I know. Are you willing to do those hard things? Are you willing to be uncomfortable? Are you willing to let go of the things that feel familiar and safe? Are you willing to get a little overwhelmed, a little confused, get a little outside your comfort zone? And it doesn't mean you can't. Of course you can. It's just challenging. It's harder because it pushes us. But as a result, we grow. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. And I think for me, having been doing this for so long, I honestly sometimes forget that it's been like I started my website in 2011 and
wow,
I started blogging. Yeah. And I wasn't running a business in 2011, but I started working for the other person who now has I'm pretty sure, multi-7-figure business in 2012. So it's kind of funny to think back, gosh, if you'd asked me in 2012, are you ready to work 10 years on this to get to a place where like you kind of feel like you kind of know what you're doing on some of this stuff, right? It's like, and a lot of the operation stuff for me, the execution piece, because I've done so many reps with it, it does feel like it's getting easier for sure. I mean, it's never going to feel like, oh yeah. I mean, I'm sure you have some skills that feel pretty effortless as far as like copywriting and sales and that kind of thing. But it's really interesting because I work with so many people who are either brand new or they just have started in the last year. And I think they put this pressure on themselves to, oh, if I'm going to be successful, like I got to get it all now and I got to learn it all now and I got to do it all now. And I think there's just this misconception that you could kind of skip all the learning process, if that makes sense. Like the only reason that I'm able to do what I do today, and even the pivot that I made, you were talking about bringing your audience with you. I even just thought about taking skills with you, right? Like all the skills, 100%. All the skills and experiences that I had growing my nutrition business. When I pivoted into business coaching, I just took all that experience that I had and applied it to a different topic, essentially. So it's all the same execution. It's just a different focus. And now we're at a place where now I'm growing beyond what I've been at in the past. So it's all new skills. It's all new things that I'm learning. And so for me, a lot of what drives me beyond helping people is seeing what is possible for me. And when I get into places where I'm like, oh my gosh, this sucks. Like, this is really hard. I hate this. Like those kind of moments, I just come back to that idea of I'm not going to give up because I want to know what I'm capable of. And I know I'm capable of getting through this. So I'm going to figure it out. We're going to make it happen. We're going to deal with it. Even if I fall on my face or I look like an idiot in front of my clients or my audience, it's just one of those things where I'm not willing to just say, yep, this is it. This is as good as it gets. This is as far as I can go. And so for me, it kind of doesn't even matter what business I'm building. It's more about the actual experience of becoming the person who can run these kind of businesses. And I feel like that's been way more valuable than any of the money that I've made over the last 7 years of having a business.
I think that is, it's great. All the sales and money and all that stuff. And I want everyone listening. I want you all making tons of money. I mean, there's like a millionaire made every 7 minutes or something in the US. I want you guys making so much money. And, money's a tool. You get to do really awesome, powerful, incredible things with that tool when you have more of it. That's wonderful. But the greatest, fulfilling, joy of it all is who you become in pursuit of those goals. Who you had to become in the process, who you had to let go of. And when you talk about your potential, it's like every day, it's like, what else am I capable of? What else is possible for me? And to stare into that abyss of what else, and that unknown. And then maybe I am, maybe I'm not, let's find out. And then you find out and and then it just keeps going. It's endless. And, and I like to joke in a way, but it's like half serious as well, is that, I have all these little secrets to success. And that's why I joke, because they sound silly because everyone knows who rolls their eyes, but a lot of them really are so simple. And because they're so simple, people overlook the secrets sitting there in plain sight. But one of my secrets is I always come with a growth or learner or beginner mindset. I am still taking courses. I am still learning. I'm still growing. I always want to consume more. I always want to learn more. And that's never going to stop for me. And I look at that as one of the things that I attribute so much to where I am. And there's learning about skills, things like copywriting and stuff like that. That's important. And then there's learning about you. And what people don't realize is that you could fill a library on the topic of you and still have more that you can learn. It's endless. And that's so beautiful. And it's this is really why I get so passionate about entrepreneurship, because most people just do the same thing, stay in the same job for 20, 30 years in their life, and they live for the weekend and watch Netflix, and that's it. And there's no judgment. I'm not judging a person in that. Like, yeah, I don't want that for me. I wanted more. I wanted to see with this short, precious time that we're here on the planet, like, what are we going to do with that time? Who are we going to become? Let's see what we can create. Let's see what's possible. Let's see who we can help. How can we leave this a little better place because of our experience? And that freaking drives me every day. And I love when the people I attract, it drives them, that same way. But it's really as simple as that, folks, is I constantly am learning. And it's a real bummer when you do meet someone or work with someone, they're like, oh, there's so much to learn. Oh, I have to learn all this? Oh, and it's like, no, you don't have to do any of it. But there'll be a job for you or something, right? Entrepreneurship, most of us have heard that quote. Entrepreneurship is doing what most people are unwilling to do so you can be, and experience what most others never will. That's what it is. It's a different path. It's a harder path, requires more of you, but it pays dividends every time.
I love it.
That's all I have to say about that.
Got the Forrest Gump reference, just snuck it in there.
That's all I have to say about that.
Well, James, I know that you and I could probably talk a lot longer since you're a talker, I'm a talker.
We are talkers.
I'm sure we will have you on the podcast again. I won't tell Mel that you've had 2 and he's had 0 so far. So
what a loser.
We got to get him on. But thank you so much for your time today. I obviously always enjoy chatting with you. And, speaking of learning, I think this might be hour number 39 of hearing your voice in the last month. So I'm ready to have a little break. But
I don't blame you.
For those people who are wanting to learn more from you, wanting to go on that journey of personal development, business growth, like seeing what they're capable of, learning the skills, because again, there are actual hard skills that you need to learn. How can they get more from you?
Yeah, I think the thing I'm most excited about sharing with people right now is starting June 17th, we're running a live virtual workshop. This is a 3-part training where, in the most simplest sense, we pull back the curtain, as they say, and I share with you how we created our 8-figure company. This is what I've been doing for years. This is what I've been teaching for years. We've been able to help a lot of people. This is the complete enchilada. A lot of people are kind of saying, you just need this one thing or do this one thing. And, and then people get that one thing or they learn that one thing and they feel like I'm missing something. So we have a very holistic view of business. We're going to help you create your business machine. There are 5 gears to that machine. You need all 5 of those gears. And we break down how to set those up, put them in your business, and start running, growing, and scaling a business around your digital products. No matter what niche you're in, we actually have a niche guide of over 104 proven and profitable niches, from nutrition and weight loss to relationships, spirituality, meditation, intuition, to business coaching, social media, to different sports, music instruments, teachers. I mean, it's unbelievable the amount of niches, the amount of different types of products, from memberships to digital courses, low end, high ticket, one-on-one coaching, consulting, events, workshops, masterminds, you name it. I've done it. Our students have done it. We're going to show you how you too can do it. We're going to have a blasty blast, and you're going to learn a lot.
It's funny. I just realized the first time I ever saw you speak was at Stu McLaren's event. And I'm pretty sure it was some version of the 5 pieces. And I feel like I remember seeing wheels, like a gears kind of image. So it is funny.
That's
You're
right.
very consistent with your messaging. And I know it's evolved a lot, but.
Yeah, I was talking about, that was 2018 in Canada, Toronto. I think we're in Toronto for Tribe Live. Yeah, and I was talking about scalability and what scalability is and what that really means. We're going to be talking about that too here. Scalability is increasing the output without directly proportionally increasing the input. So how do you generate more sales by going beyond just work harder, longer, faster? and what that really means. And that's the beautiful thing is if you're in this line of work, if you're selling digital products, like it's ripe for scalability, but at the same time, we become the bottleneck. And we bottleneck ourselves. We become the thing that slows down the business. And so I really help people get out of their own way and help scale this thing. So we're going to learn that. It's been good.
Well, and that was 3 years ago, and here we are,
wow.
Right? It's a weird world, weird life we have. I just remember I was at that presentation. I was like, I like that guy. I think I'm going to keep learning from him. And
he's a pretty cool guy.
He's kind of smart.
Wow, he's got a really great pocket protector too. I really like his pocket protector.
Oh dear. All right. Well, James, thank you so much for your time. And we'll make sure that we share the link to that free training below the in the show notes for this episode. I think it's going to be coming out around that same week. So you guys should definitely go check it out if you want to have a successful online business. James is pretty much one of the people that I will go to for like all information about business, personal development. I'm a stage 5 clinger at this point for you, so hopefully you're prepared for it. And my clients probably get tired of me talking about him, but it's something where it's nonstop learning and I love it. So hopefully the people that are listening are nonstop learners as well, and they'll get a ton out of the free training as well.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Laura. I really appreciate that.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for your time, James. And thanks for those of you hanging out with us, goofing around with us. And we'll look forward to seeing you here next time on the Fed and Fearless podcast. Take care, everybody. Hey there, Laura here again. Are you a dietitian or nutrition entrepreneur who wants to start or grow an online business? Are you feeling stuck, frustrated, or even downright scared to take the next step towards your dreams of entrepreneurship? Trust me when I say that I've been there before too, and that you are not alone. I've been running my own online business since 2014, and I started my website and blog just about 10 years ago. And over the past decade, I've learned a lot and made a lot of mistakes when it came to creating the multiple six-figure business I now run today. And if there's one thing I've learned since starting my business, it's that you don't have to figure out how to transform your knowledge, expertise, and passion into profitable online courses, digital products, memberships, and coaching services on your own. Now, contrary to popular belief, becoming an in-demand expert in your nutrition business isn't about being egotistical or selfish. It's about having a deep commitment and a burning desire to help others. And if you're not growing your business successfully, there are hundreds and maybe even thousands of people out there who are missing out on the opportunity to get the amazing help and support that you were born to provide. You're here for a purpose, and if helping people improve their health by running an online business is one of your purposes, then I have an exciting opportunity that'll help you build your business even faster and easier than ever before. My world-class business coach, James Wedmore, is going to be opening the doors soon for his game-changing online program called Business by Design. This program helps struggling service-based coaches and course creators transform their businesses from the inside out so they can experience the time and financial freedom they desire while having a bigger impact on the world. In this one-of-a-kind program, James shows you exactly what keeps most business owners stuck and struggling and coaches you through the 5 key areas that you need to focus on to overcome whatever is standing in the way of your success. His program also provides a wealth of how-to and instructional content that'll help you execute every important task in your online business, from running a launch successfully to hiring your first VA and everything in between. I consider BBD my business Bible, and I've seen health and nutrition entrepreneurs become wildly successful in their online businesses through applying what James teaches, both from a strategy and a mindset perspective. And these kind of incredible results are possible for you too. Now, if you don't know James Wedmore, he's a self-proclaimed serial entrepreneur who has built multiple seven-figure businesses in multiple niches. He's also one of my favorite coaches and mentors and has helped me completely transform my mindset around business so I could grow my income and my impact while also working less and enjoying life more. The financial and time freedom I've experienced has been life-changing. And I want you to have that experience in your business as well. So if you're ready to start taking charge of your business and your life, go to lauraschoenfeld.com/BBD waitlist. That's BBD WAITLIST. And I'll be sharing more about James's amazing online business program, Business by Design. And if you decide to join BBD under me using one of my affiliate links, you'll also receive bonus coaching from me, plus additional training content covering tools and strategies that are specific to nutrition and dietitian entrepreneurs who want to start, grow, or scale their business to six figures and beyond. These bonuses are my gift to you absolutely free when you enroll in Business by Design using my affiliate link. So don't miss your chance to learn the business strategies that have changed my life and the lives of thousands of online entrepreneurs. It's time to step into the role of confident nutrition CEO in your online business. And I can't wait to support you on your journey to becoming the successful nutrition entrepreneur that you were born to be. Go to lauraschoenfeld.com/BBD waitlist to learn more, and I'll see you inside the program.